All right, good evening. This is a little strange. We're sitting in really close quarters, but I have to have us all mic'd because we do have somebody joining us on Zoom. We were supposed to be in room 104, but the AC is not working and it's what, 70.5 degrees out. So we're all really hot here in the Pacific Northwest. Anyway, thanks for the pivot. We might have some people popping in here late, and I know we've got at least one person on Zoom. I thought we'd start by just doing a quick round of introductions. This, even though I'm speaking in a mic, it's intended to be somewhat informal today. So if you don't know me, I'm Jessie Bond. I am the city manager, and I'll just work to my left here.
Hi, I'm Andrea Larson. I am your city clerk.
Kevin Hoyt.
Kaylee Peterson, I work for this guy here.
Ted Weinberg, currently on City Council.
Daniel Becker.
Gardner Morelli.
Mara Bretman.
And I'm Allie Speeds, Chief of Administration.
And Raven is driving our technology. And I think we do have one person on Zoom. If you wanted to introduce yourself, if you got a... Oh, perfect. All right, that's okay. We started doing this orientation, I think it's our third time. We just found it was a little easier to open our doors and give you some information you need before filing, whether you're planning to file or you are here on behalf of someone else, which is also sometimes the case. So we have some pretty brief information to run through, and then we're available for questions. I think we have a PowerPoint to pop on the screen. Sorry, I messed Andrea up. All right, well, again, welcome to the community center because we don't have a city hall. Welcome again. Yeah, working on that. All right, go for it, Andrea.
All right, good evening. Tonight, the point of tonight is to run through some quick information with you. We already did our first point of introductions. Allie and I are going to go through a handful of resources for potential candidates. Jessie's then going to speak about the council manager form of government, which is Mercer Island's form of government, and touch on the council member commitment. What are you looking at if you decide to join city council, and the role and responsibilities of city council? Then we'll have some time for questions at the end if anybody has any questions. And I'll turn it over to Allie.
Okay. So Jessie will go into this a little bit more, but in our city code, it sets the city manager as the CEO of the city. And we also follow chapter 35A13 RCW, which is the council manager plan of government. There are two kinds. There's strong mayor and council manager, and we are under the council manager plan. So both of those sites will give you some information about the structure. We also have some information about your commitment. So compensation is meager. It is, you could not go on a vacation with it, but it's $200 per month for council members and $400 per month for the mayor. So you are not doing this for the money. Right, that is before taxes. It runs through payroll, so we will take your money. King County puts out a candidate manual every filing season, and it's pretty comprehensive. It's going to tell you what you need to do to file, what you need to do after you file. There is some guidance about what you can and cannot do, and it's really written for the person running for office. As you know, the filing week is the first week in May, which is in
May 5 through 9.
Yeah, in 2 weeks. So we will send this to you. These are all clickable links so you can get it, but you have a lot of this material in the packet in front of you. And then the other one is about the Public Disclosure Commission. So You are required to submit a personal financial affairs statement when you run and then every year that you're in office. It's not a hard thing to do, but your information does become public. So you have to be prepared for that. There are people who check that site religiously, so you need to make sure you do file when you're supposed to file. But those are really the main things for committing. Those are the things you want to look at. We also have some other resources, and I think almost all of these are in
Correct.
the
They're all in
packet.
the packet.
So the city council has a set of procedures, so rules of procedure. And what that is kind of how meetings are run, how discussions are held, how the agenda flows, following Robert's Rules of Order, how we appoint to boards and commissions. So it's just a good document to become familiar with. It's what the city council members all follow. Again, King County has more information about running for office. Serving on the City Council 2025 is a document that we put together, and it just gives you more specific information about Mercer Island City Council. Chapter 2.02 MICC sets us up as a non-charter code city. So 35 and 35A in the RCW are non-charter code cities. There are first-class cities, there are second-class cities, but we are a non-charter code city. So Seattle is a charter city. They have a whole charter that they follow. We do not have that. We have a city code that is guided by RCW 35A. The Association of Washington Cities has put together a really nice brochure called So You Want to Be an Elected Official. And it looks at things from more of a state level. Association of Washington Cities is every city in Washington State is part of that. They do a lot of legislative work on our behalf. We also get our employee benefits through them. They have a trust that we work with for benefits. And then MRSC, which is the Municipal Research and Services Center, is an amazing resource for all local government in Washington State. And it is a think tank. It's a group of people who have experience in municipal world, and they become the experts and they do the research for you and help you get connected to things you may not know. And they have a whole publication called Getting into Office. So we have a lot of reading material for you. You don't have to read it all, but if you are going to file, I would read the King County candidate manual so that you do know, you don't miss a deadline and you know what to do.
Thanks, Ally. Tonight is the kind of kickoff of the program that we have for gearing up for new council members coming on in January 2026. After tonight, we would encourage anybody who is considering filing to attend the May 6th City Council meeting, or go online and watch some of the city council meetings from this year. Those are all posted online. That'll give you a good idea of the topics that are coming before the city council currently. That filing week, if you're interested in filing, is a key. Those are hard deadlines. Opens at 8:30 on May 5th, closes at 5 p.m. on May 9th. Deadline to withdraw is Monday, May 12th. So if you put your name on and then over the weekend have a change of heart, you do have that one last date to withdraw. Sometime in June, we will come back together with me, Ally, and Jesse, and we will host a candidate orientation that will be for candidates who have put their name on the ballot. That orientation will kind of take a deeper dive on the information that's presented tonight. And so tonight we're kind of at 30,000 feet. We'll dive down in a little bit deeper, more detail on that information at the next meeting. Depending on the number of people who file, will be the determining factor if there is a August primary. If there are more than 2 people who file for any one seat, that position will go on the primary in August. If 2 people or less file for each position, there will be no August primary, and we will go straight to the general election in November. Once the election is certified, is when I would reach out to the person who is elected and I would set up a council member elect training. In that training, I would take a lot of this same information, but dive just that little bit deeper to continue your understanding of how the city works. And then the first city council meeting for anyone elected this year would be Tuesday, January 6th, and our city council meetings begin at 5 p.m. And then all of this information that we've showed you on these past few slides is available on our website at mercerisland.gov/council candidate.
When we reconvene in June, that's after filing and we know who's running, that's when I kind of walk through kind of tip to tail of everything we can possibly cover about the city. And it's a lot, but I'll encourage you, if you do end up filing, to come and I tell you a little bit about our operations, certainly key themes. Some might be obvious, like we don't have a city hall. So that's when we'll do that. Tonight we're prepared. I'm happy to talk about any, issues if that would be helpful, but we'll really get into that in June. Ally already covered this. I don't know that I need to go much deeper, except just to make sure everyone understands the form of government. In a council manager form of government, the city manager, that's me, is hired to run the government. The council sets policy. Our mayor and deputy mayor are appointed from within the 7-member body. And they do play a key leadership role, but that leadership role is defined by the 7-member city council. So their authority is derived from their peers, and they do play a really important role as leaders. They're often out kind of in front. Our mayor does a lot of work in the legislative session. But know that as if you become elected, you are one of 7, and it is a body of 7 that works together. No one person has more authority than the other unless it's granted to them by that 7-member body. Reading the RCWs, it's a little boring, but it's probably a worthy read if you don't have a solid grasp of a council manager form of government. I follow a code of ethics from the International City Managers Association, which, among other things, says I have to remain neutral, and as do my staff. So we do these engagements with you all as a way to share information equally with everyone, but we will not be a participant in your campaign, either directly or indirectly. So as we get rolling and once filing happens, if Daniel Becker reaches out to me with a question as a candidate, we will share that information equally with all the candidates, or I may also decline if I feel like we're getting, sorry, I didn't mean to pick on you, Daniel. That was an example. I know. So we have to walk a line and stay pretty neutral. And so we'll work hard to do that. But we also want to be a resource to you, and as helpful as we can. We know that stepping into this role, we have a lot going on, and we want to help get folks up to speed as much as we can. Next slide, please. My best advice is come to the meetings starting now. And if you can't be here in person, watch online or watch when you have time. They're all recorded and on our website. We have a lot going on, some really big topics in front of us. Buildings, utilities, money, finances. All of that will be, we have some really important meetings. May 6th, we'll be talking about the Public Safety and Maintenance Facility. That's the replacement building we're working on over at City Hall. May 20th is a really big finance presentation night. It's also a really big work plan discussion. So the May meetings, sounds exciting, right? We've already talked a little bit about the city organization, but workload wise, usually we meet twice a month, and our meetings are anywhere from 2 hours to 4 or 5 hours sometimes. We've been really quite efficient lately. It just kind of depends on what's going on. So you have at least 2 council meetings a month. We usually take August off if we can. We try to take the second meeting in December off. So we do try to have some work-life harmony where we can. Council members all serve as liaisons to something or many somethings. That might be regional committees, that might be a board and commission. That all gets worked out in January after the election. Usually the mayor and deputy mayor make a recommendation and then the council affirms it. So we have some process around that. And then I would say the rest, and Ted's here tonight. He's been on the council almost 4 years. The rest of the council is also a really good resource, probably better than I am in some ways to talk about the time. I would just say it's what you put into it. I know Ted and some council members hold regular meetings where they invite the community to come meet with them. That's not a must do. That's something you can do. We try to share with you all the different community events and things that you might want to participate in. So probably anywhere from 4 to 12 meetings a month, just kind of depends. Those aren't all things you have to be at. And I will say, as a 7-member council, this current council really does try to divide up the work. So not everyone is going to everything, but trying to coordinate and see how we can cover special events and meetings and such. I guess I thought I might, oh, my packet's over there. For each meeting, about a week before, you can, about a week ahead of the meeting, we publish a city council packet. This is from, which one is this? This is April 15th. So it's a beast, but this is what it looks like going into each council meeting. We don't always have full color, but you've got cover sheets, agenda bills on each topic that we're going to cover, the staff write, and all the backup documents. Again, I would say the May, June, July meetings are pretty key meetings for us. We've got a lot of really important work items coming. And that May 20th packet, if you'd like to get your arms around the city's finances, that would be a really, not only a good meeting to watch, but a good packet to pick up. That'll really get you oriented to the finances. So I probably went into a little more detail than I planned, but I kind of wanted to set the stage. I think we'll do our wrap-up slides and then we're happy to take any questions.
I kind of have them out of order. I wanted to give you guys our contact information for Jesse and I. After filing happens, I will be the point of contact that all communication is directed through. So if you have a question, you would email me and I will, if I cannot answer your question, I will get an answer from appropriate staff and answers will be sent to all candidates, as Jesse mentioned. And again, just wanted to mention all this information is on our website. It's there for your guys to look at. If you have questions about any of it, you're welcome to reach out to me. And I'm happy to answer any of the questions you have. And now I'm going to stop screen sharing and ask if anybody has any questions. And I have a microphone we can pass around if anybody does. And it's okay if nobody has any questions as well.
Yeah. Shortest meeting I've had all day. Go ahead.
I've heard from various people in the community what these are, but I would love to hear from the city manager what you see as the most pressing issues that you think the council would be facing over the next 4 years.
Infrastructure and funding. So you probably, if you've been following along, City Hall closed permanently in 2023. That although we were working on a replacement plan, we did not know that we had an asbestos problem. So that was a surprise. The Public Works building, which sits right behind City Hall, is on life support as well. So we have some real challenges with facilities. Similarly, infrastructure island-wide is aging. You know, the way the island developed was with great intensity in the 50s and 60s, and everything is aging out right now. So our sewer system, our water system, stormwater systems, this council really over the last 5 or 6 years has just leaned into making infrastructure a priority. And so we're in the wheelhouse of doing a lot of work. The building crisis, that, I'm not going to say it caught us sideways because we knew we had aging infrastructure. We just didn't anticipate losing our city hall when we did. So we've gotten creative. So I think keep an eye on the infrastructure conversations. Funding, like most governments, we are facing a pretty significant deficit heading into the next biennium. We'll have more specific numbers for you and an updated financial forecast at that May 20th meeting. But the years of inflation just recently it's caught up with us. You can't have a 10% inflationary year and 1% in revenue increases and balance the budget. So we are there, and I'll be working with the council and this actually new council. I think much of our policy decision around our finances will probably really will be leaning into it in 2026. So if you get elected, you're going to be at the table helping us solve our general fund and our YFS fund budget gaps. It's been just a really 4 or 5 years of unprecedented financial stuff. You know, we've had high inflation, but real estate excise taxes have been a little bit low. That's the funding we use for our capital projects. We've earned more interest on our investments, which has been unprecedented. Sales tax has been high, but it's starting to drop again. So we have some work ahead of us. Probably a combination of revenue and expenditure reduction conversation coming up. It's going to be tough. We really are a pretty lean city. We had some pretty major reductions during COVID that helped buy us some time. So those are my top 2. There's a long list of other things, but what other questions do you have? Anna?
And for the folks online, if you have a question, if you raise your hand, we can move you over so you could ask the question.
Yeah.
There are 2 people plus Councilmember Weinberg.
I was logged on, I see. Okay. Well, I'll say again, you know, tonight's getting together is just to make sure you've got all these resources in front of you. I think this first phase of filing, we want to make sure you know how to do it, you know what's needed. Andrea is a great resource. If you file and after you filed, after the filing, we will send an email communication to all of you just establishing formally Andrea as your point of contact. It feels a little funny because we have to be very formal at that moment forward. So while you might be used to, you know, just emailing me, because if you become a candidate, it's all got to go through Andrea just for fairness and my own ethics. And so again, if one of you has a question about something, it will go through Andrea. We'll decide if it's something that we will answer or not. And then that information will go out to all candidates for fairness. I stopped doing the one-on-one meetings and replaced it with this just to kind of level set the table. But we also want to be, you live here and that doesn't take that away. So if there's something else you need, you know, we're happy to navigate it during this election phase. I think the next meeting too will cover campaign signs and some of the do's and don'ts there. So that's.
And that
that's
will
coming.
also be included in the email that goes out to candidates when they put their name on the ballot with some guidelines for election signs.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Got it.
I don't mean to put you on the spot, but obviously there's one vacancy on the council and I'm just wondering on the timing.
Mm.
Do you expect to announce the process for filling that before or after the filing week for November?
Yeah. So this coming council meeting, May 6th, May
Correct.
6th, we're taking an agenda bill to the council and asking them to direct me to start the process to fill the vacancy. That will probably run through the month of May, and then the council will interview candidates and make the appointment by the end of June. We have 90 days from the date the the Councilmember Jacobson's seat was vacated, which was the day he passed away at the end of March. So this council has to make that appointment by the end of June. Otherwise, the county council will then do it for us. That seat will be filled through the election certification and the swearing in of whoever is successful in the election. So probably end of November is when that seat will be filled. And that position is just a 2-year, it's the remaining portion of Councilmember Jacobson's term.
So there would normally be 3 positions up for election this year, but because the position is vacated before filing, they added. So it's a 4th one, but it's only for 2 years.
And the process for filling the vacancy is covered in the city council rules of procedure.
Yeah, thank you for asking. That was obviously a very tragic, unexpected event. So we decided to give ourselves some space to allow the community, our council and our staff to grieve before we moved into the filling the vacancy, which is why we waited until this May meeting. Yeah. Nothing else? Well, we should definitely get outside and enjoy this good weather then. Thank you all for making time to pop in, and we'll follow up with you after filing on our next meeting.
Thank you for
Thank you.
coming tonight.